hold on to your seats, because what I'm about to tell you shows exactly where America might be heading under Trump's new order. While Europe struggles with knife attacks and political chaos, Trump just dropped a bombshell that reveals his strategy for ending conflicts and reshaping global power. If you're new here, I'm Andrew Meet Rich. I used to work inside a state-run media outlet, saw how stories were twisted to fit the narrative, and I walked away. Now I'm independent, I speak freely, and I tell you what really matters. And today, what matters is understanding how Trump's latest statements connect to a much bigger picture that affects all of us. When Trump tells reporters that Europe wants to end the war and is ready to take the leading role, when he says everything will suddenly fall into place, he's not just talking about Ukraine, he's talking about a broader reshaping of world politics. But first, let me tell you what he revealed in his latest social media post that should alarm every American who values constitutional rights. He wrote a provocative line about the smell of deportation in the morning and told Chicago, a Democratic stronghold, that they would soon feel the impact of what he calls the Department of War. Think about that for a moment. Trump is signaling that military structures could be directly involved in domestic enforcement. This isn't framed as just an immigration issue anymore. It's about the potential use of federal power inside American cities divided along political lines. And here's the chilling part. Once military control is extended into major cities, the space for organized opposition or public protest could shrink dramatically. What we're witnessing is a strategy to consolidate power by bringing military authority into arenas that have always been civilian. And if this doesn't raise serious questions about the future of American democracy, then we're not paying attention. Now, while America slides toward authoritarianism, let me show you what's happening in Germany, because it reveals the broader pattern of chaos that's engulfing the Western world. In Grevenbroich, North Rhine-Westphalia, another horrific knife attack left 3 men wounded, 1 critically. The 25-year-old victim required emergency surgery, while 2 others, ages 25 and 27, suffered lighter injuries. Police had to seal off the entire apartment building, deploy helicopters, and conduct a massive operation that resulted in arresting 2 suspects, ages 25 and 32. The investigation is treating this as attempted murder, and they've formed a special investigative unit. But here's what's really telling. Authorities won't reveal the identities of the suspects. Why do you think that is? What pattern are they trying to hide? Hit that like button if you're starting to see the connections I'm making here. And it gets worse in Germany. Baden-Württemberg, the southwestern state, is now equipping police with special cut-resistant uniforms because knife attacks are increasing so dramatically. Police officers will be required to wear protective gear against stabbing and cutting weapons to avoid lacerations. As officials explain, this is the state's response to the growing number of knife incidents and police union demands for increased protection. They admit that knife penetration will still be possible, but it will make the attacker's job more difficult. Many officers say they feel more vulnerable in their daily work because the real threat of knife wounds occurs repeatedly in practice. This is the new reality in what was once one of Europe's safest countries. When police need special armor just to do their jobs, you know society has fundamentally broken down. The situation got so bad that after a student attacked a teacher in Essen with a stabbing weapon multiple times, then ran to the main train station where special police units arrested him in a nearby park, the mayor is taking drastic action. During the arrest, the suspect allegedly pulled out another weapon and charged at police, forcing them to use firearms. The suspect underwent surgery, but his motives remain unclear. Mayor Thomas Kufen declared, "We must check school bags, backpacks, and briefcases." This must never happen again, because those who have knives will definitely use them. We declare war on knives. That's a direct quote. Think about what this means. German officials are now talking about declaring war on inanimate objects because they can't address the real underlying issues. France is already conducting bag searches of students and schoolchildren. This is the slippery slope of a society that refuses to confront uncomfortable truths. But here's where German politics gets really interesting, and this connects directly to what's happening globally. The Alternative for Germany Party, officially classified as a right-wing extremist organization in Saxony-Anhalt, is now leading in polls. 34-year-old Sigmund, co-chairman of the AfD faction specifically in Saxony-Anhalt, is topping election ratings and could become the first state premier from this party. According to polls, AfD is getting 39% of votes, almost 12 percentage points more than the Christian Democratic Union. Despite being labeled extremist, Sigmund is actively gaining popularity among the people. On TikTok, he has more than 500,000 followers. This shows you something crucial. When mainstream parties fail to address people's real concerns about safety and immigration, voters turn to alternatives, regardless of how those alternatives are labeled by the establishment. Meanwhile, within Germany's Christian Democratic Union, there's growing dissatisfaction with Chancellor Friedrich Merz's position. Party members fear he won't be able to insist on welfare system reforms and will cave to Social Democratic Party demands. The controversy started when Merz said the government doesn't intend to demolish and cut the welfare state. Now Johannes Winkel, head of the Young Union and member of the CDU Presidium, is demanding in interviews that the bloated social sector must be reduced. He's demanding the Chancellor use his power and implement reforms even if the Social Democratic Labour Minister resists. We must reduce the bloated welfare state, he says. It cannot be that a family receiving benefits has only slightly less money than a working family. This is the core tension tearing apart Western societies, the unsustainable welfare systems that discourage work while rewarding dependency. Make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell because these global patterns are accelerating faster than most people realize. Merz's press service responded that the core of the welfare state is untouchable, but added that abuses must be eliminated and wrong incentives in the social assistance system corrected. But this brings us back to Trump's strategy, which is far more sophisticated than his critics understand. When Trump told reporters that Europe wants to end the war and is ready to take a leading role, when he said this will end and suddenly everything will fall into place, he was revealing his grand bargain. The United States will contribute, Trump said. We will help them. But then came the warning about substantial consequences if settlement doesn't occur. Otherwise, the price seems too high, he explained. Trump is essentially telling Europe, you want to lead, you pay for it. America won't be the world's policeman anymore, but we'll support those who step up. Now let me tell you about something that perfectly illustrates the new power dynamics emerging under Trump. While Democratic media constantly predicted Elon Musk's downfall, he's about to become the world's first trillionaire. Tesla has offered him the most expensive contract in history. Currently, Musk's wealth is valued at $428 billion. The new stock and bonus package could add another $900 billion. Tesla's board of directors hopes to keep Musk as CEO until at least 2030. They consider retaining and motivating Musk extremely important for Tesla. This isn't just about money, it's about power. The man who controls space exploration, electric vehicles, social media, and now has Trump's ear, is accumulating wealth and influence at an unprecedented scale. When someone has nearly $1.5 trillion and direct access to the president, traditional political structures become irrelevant. Meanwhile, another billionaire, Mark Zuckerberg, owner of Meta Corporation, which controls Facebook and Instagram, is engaging in fights with his top managers. This was revealed in a book by the former president of Meta's international division. According to him, Zuckerberg regularly fights in the ring, causing Meta investors to receive warnings that top managers participate in high-risk activities. Zuckerberg's devotion to mixed martial arts is so strong that one morning during an executive retreat, he insisted that some of his highest-ranking managers join him for training. The former international division president wrote this in his upcoming book titled How to Save the Internet. The thing is, Mark likes to win. Especially when the boss arranges fights with subordinates, victory is naturally always guaranteed for him. Nobody wants to become a former manager. This reveals the mindset of these tech moguls. They see everything as a competition they must dominate, including physical confrontations with their own employees. But here's a story from Australia that should terrify everyone about our technological future. A woman worked 25 years at a bank, trained an artificial intelligence assistant, wrote responses for it, corrected its errors, and then was fired because she was no longer needed. The AI now handles everything on its own. This is a real case. Catherine from Australia thought she was just helping improve service, but she was actually training her replacement. Management liked that the machine performed her work flawlessly, so they fired Catherine. This is the dystopian reality we're entering. Companies are using human workers to train their AI replacements, then discarding the humans once the machines are ready. And the workers have no idea they're participating in their own elimination until it's too late. Everything I've shared today connects to a single theme. The old world order is collapsing, and what's replacing it isn't necessarily better. Trump's America is becoming increasingly authoritarian, using military force against political opponents. Europe is dealing with social breakdown through increasingly desperate measures like armoring police and declaring war on objects. Billionaires are accumulating unprecedented power, while ordinary workers train the machines that will replace them. The political establishment everywhere is losing control to populist movements that promise simple solutions to complex problems. This isn't left versus right anymore. This is about whether democratic institutions can survive the pressures of technological change, mass migration, economic inequality, and the rise of strongman politics. If you found this analysis valuable, smash that like button, subscribe for daily updates on these critical developments, and consider becoming a channel sponsor to support independent journalism that connects the dots mainstream media won't. The future is being decided right now, and understanding these connections is the only way to prepare for what's coming. Stay alert, stay informed, and remember that the truth is always more complex than the headlines suggest.